So here we're going to be looking at the greatest common factor, or sometimes just called the GCF. I'm going to look at a few expressions here. The first one being 2x squared plus 14. And what we're looking for are factors that are common in every term. So, for example here, 2 can go into 2, but it can also go into 14. So I'm going to take that 2 out. And if I take 2 divided by 2, well, that's 1, so I can just put here x squared, or 1x squared. And I'm going to divide the 14 as well, so 14 divided by 2, well, that goes in 7 times, so that's plus 7. This is something we should always do before we work on our other factors. If you could factor this further, we would do that at this point. In this case, we're going to consider this prime for our purposes in Algebra 1. Let's look at another example. Let's try this. 3x minus 21. Here, we may notice that you can take 3 out. So 3 parenthesis, and of course 3 divided by 3 is going to be 1, or 1x. And the next one is 21 divided by 3, which should give us 7, but this is a minus 7. So 3 times x minus 7 quantity. And let's look at one last example here. Sometimes the factors are not so obvious. For example, 20p minus 35. Well, you may notice that 5 goes into both of these factors, and sometimes you have to look at both numbers and see what you can pull out. So here we can definitely pull out a 5. I'm going to put a parenthesis, and 20 divided by 5, well, that's 4, so that's going to give me a 4, and don't forget the p. This is a negative 35 over 5, which is going to give me minus 7. And for any of these, if we multiply them out by distributing, we should get back to the same thing. So let me just do a check on this last one. 5 times 4, that is 20p. And 5 times negative 7, that's going to be negative 35, which gives me back what I originally had. So that's a good check. And of course, remember, you always want to do this method of factoring first.